We zijn onderweg. En waar gaan we naartoe?
We gaan naar het elandenpark. Joehoe! Ja!
Joehoe, we gaan naar het elandenpark. En dat is ongeveer een uurtje rijden. We staan 1 uur en 5 minuten.
Oh, daar sta je toch weer.
En daar hebben we om 11 uur een tour. Dan gaat iemand ons rondleiden langs de elanden. We zijn bij de Moespark. En achter de kassa stond gewoon een Nederlandse mevrouw. Dus ze kon gewoon in het Nederlands het verhaal aanhoren. We krijgen vandaag maar de helft van de tour.
Oh.
Want één van de elanden is een beetje agressief. Dus daar gaan we vandaag niet naartoe. Dus we hoeven ook maar de helft te betalen.
Okay, very good morning to you guys. Welcome to Varna's Moose Park. My name is James. I'm going to be your guide today. I'm one of the owners here at the park. Myself, my brother Per and our father. What we're going to do today is introduce you to the biggest deer in the world, which in Latin is known as the alces alces. In Swedish it's referred to as an el. In English it's referred to as the elk, and in America and Canada it's known as the moose. In Sweden it's known as the royalty of the forests actually, and the male with his crown, the bull, he's known as Skogens konung, which is the king of the forest, and the female is the queen of the forest. One other thing before we get going, two other things. We're an English-Swedish family, so if you're hearing an English accent, you're right. It's a very English accent. Okay. And another thing, I'm not going to use the English word elk to describe this deer. I don't like that word. And the reason I don't like the word elk, and the reason why we use the word moose instead, is because there are 2 different types of deer that are called the elk. There's an elk in America and Canada, but it's nothing like this animal. It's a different species. It's not the alces alces. And the reason why it's called the elk over there, by the way, its old name, its real old name is the wapiti, which is a Native American name. But it's called the elk, often referred to as the elk. Now the reason why it's called the elk over there is because when the British went over to the American area, they basically named it the elk. They got it wrong, basically. They thought that was the elk. It was a big, it is a big deer, and the old, English elk had disappeared. The alces alces had disappeared from the UK a long time before they went over to America. So when they saw the wapiti, they assumed that was the elk. They named it the elk. When they went further north into the northern states of America and into what is now Canada, that's when they saw the true giant. So they went, uh-oh, we've made a mistake. So they went with the old Native American name, okay, and that is moose. And in their language, it means to be a stripper terror. So literally, when you say, oh wow, there's a moose standing over there, you're saying there's a stripper terror over there. And it's a good descriptive word. You can tell they were watching them because that's how they eat. They don't have any top front teeth. They only have bottom front teeth. So they can't bite like horses. So what they do instead is they will scrape bark from trees with their bottom teeth. They'll also wrap around their big top bit of their lip, their nose, around a twig, and then strip off all the leaves. You can see the big 6 here in central Sweden. You can see the golden eagle, you can see the wolverine. Well, the wolverine are here, but they're very rare to see. You can see the lynx, again that's quite difficult to see, but they are here. There are bear here. Every year there's a few bear running around in the summer in these forests. You can see the wolf. There are lots of wolves here in this part of Sweden. In fact, the unofficial symbol for Värmland is the wolf. And we have more wolves here than anywhere else in Sweden. So this is the capital of the wolf kingdom in Sweden. And then we have the moose, which is the biggest of all of them. And there are lots of moose here around. So if you're going to go into the forest, all right, that can be a good place to see wildlife. There is a lot of wildlife up in there in forests, but often what happens is people walk around the forest and they don't see anything but trees and mosquitoes. All right. So what is better is if you go into the forest, you should look for high ground that overlooks forest marshes. Another site that's very good for seeing moose, that's often forgotten about. When you're driving around, you'll see power lines. Okay? Now these power lines run along lakes, around the edges. They also run through big areas of forest, supplying electricity. And what they do is they cut underneath these power lines on a regular basis to stop these trees coming up and hitting the lines. Now what that creates is kind of like a nice channel that moose like to walk up and down. If you're a big bull with a large crown, it's very nice if you can just walk through the forest like this with your head up. If you've ever watched a bull moving through forest that's quite dense, he's having to go like this. He has to go like that, he has to move around the trees, he has to go back and through. It takes him a while. So he likes to go down, up and down these channels just because he can keep his head up. The other site, and I would start with this one, and this is good for families too, is this type of area that we're in now. Okay, this is really good for seeing the moose and the roe deer. We see a lot of deer here, but we've seen a wolf here, we've seen a lynx here as well, we've seen foxes, badgers, you know, lots of different things. So what you want to look for is a meadow field. Okay, now a meadow field is a space that the landowner or the farmer lets grow up through spring and summer. It has a lot of diversity in the meadow flowers and grasses, and then in July and August normally they cut it. Okay, they dry it, then they give that stuff to the horses or the cows or the sheep. But in the meantime, while it's growing, it's a very valuable food resource for the deer. The female moose, the cow, she likes this type of stuff. The white and the pink clovers. They're high in fat, they've got good levels of protein, they're very good for milk production, and right now this time of year she's needing to produce a lot of milk, so she'll push out into the meadows more than the bull will. But also her calves, they'll be encouraged to start eating the leaves and the bits and pieces as well, because they're good baby food for them. The deer is a very nervous animal. Okay, they're always listening, they're always smelling the air. So before they come into open space, they normally walk down inside or behind the tree line and then stand there listening, smelling the air and making sure that it's safe for them to step out. Once they've stepped out into open space, into the meadow, you'll see that they put their head down, they'll do a bit of nibbling, they'll move, but they'll always be picking up their head, moving their ears around everywhere, smelling the air and being very focused on what's going on around them. So if she hears movement over here, for example, or she smells something strange, she wants to quickly be able to turn, go back into cover and go back into the forested area as quickly as possible, where she's got the best chance of getting away. And then the last thing that you're looking for, the last feature, and you need this to see the moose and animals like the wolf, you won't see them otherwise, is you need that meadow connected directly to big forestry. Okay? Now if you look over there on that peak, that hill behind us, you can see trees. And back here, running this way and that way, there are millions and millions of trees. That is big commercial forestry. Alright? Now there's a lot of wildlife in there right now. That's where they tend to be during the day. And they start moving out of these forested regions and into the open space areas, okay, in the early morning and in the evening. So if you're out in these types of areas, driving around or on foot, between 5 AM to kind of 9, and between say 8 PM till about 11 or 12, that's the best time that's the best chance for you seeing these animals. That's when they're going to be moving, and that's when you're going to see them. All right.
Wil je het?
Ja, ik wil het.
Nou, doe het dan. Oh, klaar.
Een beetje handje.
These two calves, if you look, these are 6.5 weeks old, and if you look at the bum of them, you'll notice that one of them, I think this one here, she has a white mark underneath her little tail, and that's the girl. So if you see calves in the wild, you need to look at their bum and look for a little white mark, and she keeps that for the rest of her life. And if you look at Lotta, she also has that white mark underneath her tail. Is an example. She's 8.
Look at that. What's that?
Dat is de camera, ja.
A big female in Sweden can weigh 400 to 450 kilograms, and a big male can weigh 700 kilograms. In Siberia, they've been known to push 1,000 kilograms, the male. So that's 1 ton. That's heavier than a lot of the cars that are driving around. Yeah, I'm getting them a bit annoyed because I keep moving around. They're like, stop moving around.
Lekker zacht.
Is die lekker zacht?
Ja. Ja, ik vond het heel grappig, want hij zuigt zo wat je hand op. Hij deed met zijn lippen zo. Hij zei, pak eens een stukje fruit uit zo en dan alleen maar je vingertoppen pakt hij dan ook nog mee.
Ja, het sappelt hè?
Ja.
Het sappelt een beetje.
Ja, je sappelt een beetje.
Wat gaan jullie doen?
Wij gaan de sauna bekijken.
Echt waar?
Ja. Mama, mag ik de sleutel?
Ja, maar kijk eens. Een kleine sleutel.
Ja, heel klein. Kom, dan gaan we samen opendraaien.
Er zit iemand in.
Echt?
Ja. Doe maar niet.
Hier liggen schoenen. En een sokken.
Ja, maar waarom mogen we er dan niet in?
Hoe ga je in de sauna?
Als het heet is.
Wat heb je dan aan?
Pak, handdoek bij je. Pak.
Officieel helemaal?
Niet?
Gaan we een andere keer kijken.
Het is zoals het is.
Dames, we konden niet in de sauna. Maar waar zijn we nu?
Het meer.
Ja, we hebben de roeiboot gepakt. En we zijn zomaar een stukje gaan
Ik
roeien.
denk dat even iemand moet gaan steeds meer achteruit.
Ja, we gaan even roeien.
We gaan steeds meer op dat ding. Dit is leuk om te doen. We gaan helemaal die kant op. Ja, de bedoeling dat mama beter peddelt dan papa.
Zijn we goed in beeld?
Ja.
Ik vind het wel leuk.
We gaan gewoon helemaal daarheen. Papa, jij moet gaan roeien. Mama stopt bewust. Want we moeten zo draaien.
Oh ja.
Goed.
Gaan we weer naar de steiger, hè Lat?
Ja. Papa. Peddelen, kom op peddelen. Papa, nu peddelen. Papa, peddelen, nu. Peddelen.
Ja, dan gaan we te hard. We gaan heel rustig zo.
En we zitten vast.
Ja, dat is wel goed. We zijn toch bij dat ding?
Nee, want zo kunnen we niet uitstappen.
Jawel.
Hier is het punt. Kun je heel mooi uitstappen.
Uit de boot.
Wat een mooi avontuur weer, Lat.
Niet hier langs staan als we gaan roeien. Naar de zijkant stappen.
Yes, ik ben veilig. Oeh, ik heb het overleefd. Staan
Wat zeg je, Lat?
nog? Ik heb het overleefd. Nou, de sokken en schoenen die staan er nog steeds. Maar ik heb geklopt en geroepen en de deur open geprobeerd te doen. Er zit dus uiteindelijk dus niemand in. En dan maar draaien. En drukken. Duwen.
Trekken volgens mij. Dan moet je gewoon maar naar buiten open.
Wat?
Hij moet naar buiten open.
En weer dicht.
Yes.
Luister. Oh, cool. Is dit echt een sauna? Er zit niemand in. Is dit echt een sauna? Dat gok ik dus echt niet. Eigenlijk, je kan ook gewoon op zo'n surfplank of zo. Kan hier licht aan of zo? Het is hier een beetje griezelig.
Ik denk het niet. Ja, het is een sauna. Daar zit geen licht in.
Oh ja, het is echt een sauna. Hier is de sauna.
Wat? Mag ik er even langs?
Er staan wel kaarsen. Er ruikt naar de vloer en daar is...
Ja, het ruikt een beetje. Het ziet er ook een beetje uit alsof deze sauna al een keertje in de brand heeft gestaan of zo. Alsof die iets te hard is gegaan. Dus we gaan hier maar weer weg.
Het lijkt alsof het een beetje afgebrand is, die sauna. Papa, we hebben iets heel bijzonders gevonden. 2 besjes. 3 bijzondere. Deze besjes. Mooie besjes.
Zo.
En dan zijn er 2 bijzondere bij. Eentje met plaatjes, laat maar zien. Die is van jou. Die met plaatjes.
Ja.
En eentje, die is aan de helft paars en aan de helft groen. Kijk.
Ze zien er een beetje uit als blauwe besjes.
Ja.
Bosbessen.
Ja, kijk. Deze is aan de helft
Oh, dat is ook wel heel bijzonder.
blauw en aan de helft groen. Yes?
En zijn het er een paar die jullie vonden? Of vonden jullie heel veel van die besjes? Jullie hebben gewoon een paar geplukt.
Heel veel.
Willen jullie me laten zien waar je die gevonden hebt?
Ja.
Oké.
Daarom hebben we ook zoveel en ook bijzondere. Zoveel, kijk daar ook en daar zo. En, daar en hier is er nog één, daar zijn er nog heel veel.
Het lijken wel bosbessen. Ik weet niet of het bosbessen zijn.
Blijft hout drijven trouwens.
Ja, maar we gaan het niet testen.
Nee, niet met de sleutel, nee, maar met een tak.
Maar kan je het testen?